What expectations do you have for this record?
Um, I don't know because I never, um, we been around a long time, and we were around a long time before we had a hit. So we never really were waiting around for hits, and we were never really waiting around for chart positions or um,
Units
for
sold
albums.
and all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of, yeah.
We never really paid too much attention to that. So I think it's quite liberating. We don't even now, having had a couple of successful records, we're still not sort of. se- Um, living and dying on first week sales or whatever. We're excited that people get that the record's coming out, and we hope that people get it both physically and mentally. I don't think it's so much of a departure that's going to frighten people,
But it must be
but
comforting to know that
but yeah, that people are um people are eyes are on us this time more than they've ever been, and I think we've made a record to match the expectation, and I'm very very proud of it. So you really can't do anything more than that. You can't I can't implore people to like it. It's just what happens. People are gonna like it or they're not gonna like it. It's not for us to coax out of people.
but it's comforting to know, I guess, that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many new people like this. There are so many existing Snow Patrol fans already that it's gonna do well, whatever happens.
Well, again, I never say, I never say, I never count my chickens. We don't, we're not chicken counters.
No.
We're, um, we're, we're not even chicken farmers. We don't even have a chicken. We should have chickens. We should really have
I,
sort of sustainable
I used to have
food
chickens.
sources.
Trust me, they really stink.
I live in a flat, so it's probably best I don't.
Good point. Is it probably the better way to have done the band the way you've done it, i.e., to not have had a load of hits to begin with and then to have found success? Because I would imagine it's very difficult to get your head around being in a band when you literally put out your first record and it sells millions and millions of copies around the world. Then you've got expectations. Then you've got eyes upon you. Whereas you've actually just plotted a journey. This is your career.
Yeah, but I mean, I think bands and songwriters these days are a lot more savvy of the media and a lot more confident. They seem to come almost fully formed. I mean, from the Arctic Monkeys to Laura Marling and Noah and the Whale. These are bands that sort of seem to have maybe for me, maybe I wasn't. Maybe they took me a little bit by surprise. Amazing bands and songwriters that they are, but they seem to have already a devoted following, playing gigs where 2,000 people were already singing every word. They also had like really good heads on their shoulders. They knew not to get too caught up in the sort of glad handing side of the industry. They sort of avoided they've avoided cliches at every turn. I mean, everybody seems, and like bands like the sort of bands like that really sort of inspire and are inspiring. That the new young bands in music aren't getting swallowed by the system, aren't getting eaten alive. Because they're almost playing it. Um, they're almost playing the system because they're savvy enough to do that, and it's inspiring because that's what needs to be done. Because it's we spent 10 years in the wilderness. It's not that much fun.
Mm.
Um, to sort of constantly sort of come up against brick walls. But what is fun is the camaraderie that comes out of it, because you don't stay, and also the realization that you're in it for the right reasons, is comforting. Because if we had have been in it for the money, we would have quit long ago.
How much coaxing is there from the people who are sat behind me?
Oh, not not
Do the
that's
record
I'm not saying that our record label are in any way to blame. I'm because they've been great. Fiction's amazing record label, and Universal are one of just probably the best major to be on. But
Mm.
I'm saying that as a new band, there's a sort of um, there has been it is a system that does sometimes swallow you up and spit you out. When you're better being prepared, and the tools are there. The internet, God bless it, is there to kind of show give you any information that you need, really on being in a band, and hopefully bands like ourselves who've been through things like that. Anything that we can tell you is is can be relevant as well, and you kind of learn from the bands that you like.
I just wonder whether the record company sat down Noah and the Whale, who've been in here many times, and they're such a nice bunch of lads. Whether anyone said this is what's going to happen when you get that number 2 album, or now what expectations they've got. They've had a number 2 album. They've had one of the songs of the summer, I think.
Yeah.
And where do you go from then? Has anyone said, right, this is the next step. This is what you got to do next? Probably not.
No, because they also seem like that they're just kind of independent and free spirited, and they'll do things in their own terms and in their own way, and it seems to be a kind of the prevailing wind of the new breed of bands, that's what's happening. They're very individual and willful, and it's a good way to be, because it's a protective shell that you build around yourself, and you need to have a strong shell around you to kind of survive at the moment.
Let's play another track from the album. Tell us a little bit about. Well, let's start at track 1. If there's a rocket, tie me to it.
Okay. Well, it's obviously first track. It's kind of the impetus of the record, I guess. It's the two sort of. It's not a concept album by any means, but the sort of the two central characters of the of the album are apart, and it's me wanting to get to the other person as fast as possible and by any means necessary.